Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our backyard. In today's video, I'd like to talk about the various nectar plants that we have for butterflies. And nectar plants means plants that attract butterflies to the yard, that produce nectar that they love to drink from. So the first plant that you see here is a zinnia, and zinnias are particularly popular with butterflies. They've got nice landing pads for them to land on and lots of nectar. In fact, each one of these little I don't know if you can see in there, but they're made of lots and lots of tiny flowers, and that's where the butterfly puts its proboscis down into and sucks up the nectar. So zinnias are an annual plant that butterflies love. This annual vine that you see here is called a cardinal climber, and it is very much attracts hummingbirds, but it also attracts my larger butterflies. And I'm surprised with how much it is blooming this spring, because it's just starting to climb. But my larger butterflies really like the cardinal climber blooms. Lantana in my yard is a butterfly favorite. I've got quite a few different lantana plants, different colors of the flowers, and they're all very attractive to all different kinds of butterflies. And the reason I like lantana so much is they will survive the heat and the humidity here along the Gulf Coast, and they just flower all summer long into the fall. They just are flowering beauties. I've actually talked about this in another video. I prefer the mounding lantanas as opposed to the trailing or sprawling lantana, and that's because this habit is more contained and they don't set seed. So there's no problem with this lantana reproducing itself. They do come back for me every year, and I wouldn't have a garden without having lantana in it for my butterflies. Another very popular flower with my butterflies is this native Liatris. It's just starting to flower, and it was covered with butterflies and pollinators, bees, yesterday. I was surprised with how many butterflies visited this flower, and it's just starting to flower. I've talked about Greg's Mistflower before, and this is a butterfly magnet. They've got that nice little landing pad for the butterflies to land on. I wish I actually had more of it. It is a native to Texas, and just by observing how much the butterflies visit this flower, I'm glad that it says it spreads kind of like a ground cover very easily, because I hope to have a lot of it come fall. When the migration happens, supposedly queen butterflies also love this flower. Pentas are also a mainstay in my butterfly garden. They love the heat, they love the humidity, the hotter the better almost, and they're just sure. They're just tried and true, and lots of different butterflies land on pentas. My yellow cestrum is a favorite of the Gulf fritillary and the giant swallowtail. The yellow flower, it's interesting, it's kind of like a little tube here, but it flowers so dependably for me. Butterflies love butterfly bushes, and I have 4 or 5, I guess 5 different varieties in my yard in various locations because of that. My firebush are not flowering right now, so I have 3 different types of firebush. And although hummingbirds very much frequent firebush, so do butterflies. They have a small orange tubular flower, and all summer long I have butterflies on my firebush. I have all kinds of salvia in my garden, and butterflies love salvia. Yesterday I had a gorgeous pipevine swallowtail just continue to visit this Mexican bush sage, or also known as Salvia leucantha. It was fun to watch. And I've got so many different types of salvia in the yard, and I've shared that in previous videos. I am going to do an update on my salvia in the coming weeks, but salvia is tried and true for butterflies. Ha! Got one right here. This is a pipevine swallowtail. Gorgeous. So fun to watch butterflies. So I'm really happy that this one made an appearance for me. So not only yesterday, it's back today. Another favorite is the cigar plant or Kufia. I have butterflies that like this also. It's a hummingbird favorite. This gorgeous and new for me Mexican flame vine. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It bloomed. It was just covered in blooms, and the monarch butterflies went nuts for it. Unfortunately, it is the blooms are completed. It will rebloom. I can see that the new flush is starting, so I deadheaded it, which was recommended, and I will link up top to my other video on the Mexican flame vine when it had blooms on it. They were gorgeous orange blooms. Porterweed. This is my red porterweed. This is also a butterfly favorite. It's actually a complete pollinator favorite, and I have 4 different colors of porterweed: red, purple, coral, and blue. In fact, I've got that same butterfly that you saw, the pipevine swallowtail, is over at my purple porterweed right now. Hummingbirds love this, bees love it, and butterflies absolutely love porterweed. And the reason is because porterweed, even though it only blooms along a small section of the long bloom stalk, so a small section each day, it refills with nectar all throughout the day, and that's why they are constantly visited. Oh, it's not going to focus. There it does. Constantly visited by all of the pollinators. My coneflowers are not blooming yet, but they are a huge butterfly favorite, and they get nice and tall and have these gorgeous purple bloom heads on them. And then come fall, the seeds that those bloom heads produce are very much bring in the birds. They bring in, especially finches love to eat the seeds on coneflowers. And many different types of butterflies. love milkweed flowers. Not only will you see monarchs, because it is the host plant to the monarch butterfly, but lots of other different types of butterflies really will flock to milkweed flowers. And I mentioned salvia. You know, interestingly, this happens to be a mystic spire salvia, and my little butterflies will visit mystic spires, the smaller butterflies, and down here, same type of flower structure. That's a misty salvia. And then the larger butterflies appreciate salvia that has a little bit deeper flower to it, like my rockin' fuchsia here. And also the bush salvias that has a little bit longer throat to the flower. I have seen butterflies on hibiscus and on snapdragons. I've also seen them on my Turk's cap. My Chinese tallow tree is flowering, and I've got a monarch up there enjoying the flowers. So thank you for joining me today as I've talked about nectar plants that butterflies really have enjoyed this spring in my yard. I hope you all have a great day.